I know a lot of you have questions about Angel Studios. Again, the one thing that I'm going to be critical of, I think, is some of the I love The Chosen, but it's so hard for them to get a shot like this. So we've talked about Testament quite a few times now. You guys seem to be really enjoying this show and what's going to be coming with it. For those of you that are really into the Testament series and looking forward to what is going to be happening with it, let's jump into these next few behind the scenes moments from weeks 3 and 4 of Testament, as well as looking at a little bit of a deep dive into some of the characters here. So let's jump in and talk about it. Here we go.
Art allows you to tell stories that people won't. Art allows you to tell stories that people won't normally listen to. And I think this will bring the gospel to a lot more people.
Where's this camera?
This one's...
So to refresh your brain here, we're seeing Gamaliel on the left and then Caiaphas on the right. These are two of the heads, right, of the ministry, which is kind of the great Sanhedrin in this world.
Ready? We're filming this one.
So we are on week 3 of filming Testament series.
This is Eleanor. She is kind of like the Chris and Jelaine from The Chosen. She's like the Testament insider, if you will. She's funny. She's always great whenever she's on here.
And today we're on a location that we've been at since yesterday. I'm told there's a vehicle that is a pretty sick vehicle. So, shall we?
Look at that.
That's pretty epic. I guess this is one of the Roman vehicles that they're using to transport. In the back there, you see Pilate, the guy in the tan kind of jacket. And then in the foreground, you're seeing some of the Roman soldiers here, the centurions or the Praetorian Guard or whatever they are here.
I'm just gonna get in. Today, we've just finished a scene on the balcony between myself and Cassian.
So this is Cassian
And Marcellus, and it's basically sort of crisis management.
Take a day off. But I don't do it for him.
Right.
Do it for you.
Right.
You can't have him near you.
We had a scene outside, terribly cold, but we got through it. Got a good number of takes.
Again, I have to put my Brandon hat on here. Again, the one thing that I'm going to be critical of, I think, is some of the costumes from this show. I think most of the costumes have been very, very good. Some of them, though, like these, I just have a feeling they're not going to turn out great on camera, but I hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong.
So now we're inside.
We're actually in this lovely, not used anymore hospital. It's actually really cool to look around. You'll be able to obviously see it when it comes out, but it's really cool, quite old.
It's always brilliant to come on location.
So this is Esther. I'm assuming it's not like Esther, like Old Testament Esther, but someone who's just like an assistant called Esther here.
See a new interior of something and all the character that it builds. And this is clever as well because it really suits the style of Testament because it seems to be a few different eras merged together. It's modern, but it's not. You know, it's very clever.
I like the way that she explains that, how Testament is supposed to be modern, but not, and kind of a melding of a few different eras, which is how we're kind of seeing it here. It's not like a lockdown, like futuristic sci-fi thing. It's not an older era. It's kind of a mix between some different things. So that doesn't feel necessarily exactly like our world, but it feels like a different interpretation of our world, right? Here we have the co-founders of Angel Studios. Of course, this is an Angel Studios product. We will talk about that in the future. I know a lot of you have questions about Angel Studios, and so we'll talk about that as we get closer. I don't follow every single show or movie that Angel does. However, I do think that there are some definite standouts when it comes to certain movies or certain shows that Angel is a part of. And so here, Angel is not writing the scripts. Angel is not in charge of what the show actually does. That's all Paul Serstad and his writing team, which is his wife and his brother-in-law. And so I've actually met Paul, the creator of the show, and I have a lot of trust in him to do something that's going to be really, really cool. And so I'm excited about that. But we'll see how Angel is a part of it and what that actually looks like overall. I know some of you are just hesitant about that. I would say don't be for now. Let's keep an eye out and just see what's kind of going on there.
Being here in London and seeing some of the sets where you all are shooting, it's the level of texture and color and how big this series is going to feel is way beyond its budget. This is going to be a very beautiful series.
We've had some incredible locations, to be honest. You know, having these amazing locations as a DP just makes my life a little easier to some degree, because it just...
So this is James Ducker. I think last time they misspelled his name, maybe? Yeah, I think they messaged me and were like, hey, sorry, we misspelled his name. And it was something else. Anyway, this is James. He's the director of photography. This is the main guy that's making sure the camera shots look good and all that kind of stuff here.
These locations as a DP just makes my life a little easier to some degree, because it just makes the images all obviously look nicer. Yes, they're big, so they can be a little bit more difficult and challenging to light such big, long stretches of rooms, but you know, some of the finish, the marbles, the kind of the woodwork and things on some of these locations is just incredible.
Yeah, being in the UK, you probably have so much opportunity of these like super old, amazing buildings that you can film in that are just, they would probably just look so cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing that aesthetic, because as an American, we don't really see that too much. So I do wonder how that'll be for sure.
I'm really excited, actually. I mean, first of all, look at this place. Wonderful. But not only that, the scene is really intense, what we're about to shoot. So I'm really excited.
I believe this is the tomb of Jesus, which is pretty crazy. Obviously way more modern looking than what we've seen previously in terms of Jesus's tomb, right? But this is a totally different take. I really do wonder how they're going to set this up, or is there going to be a stone that's rolled away, or is that going to be modernified as well? What is that going to look like exactly? I don't know. Those things in the background kind of look like stones, but they kind of just look like tombstones as well. So hard to say. Although all of these graves over here have crosses on them. So how do you explain that if this is Jesus's tomb? It's so funny. The modern things you don't think about until you're shooting a Jesus show, and the impact that Jesus has had on the world. It's quite interesting. So I do wonder how this is going to turn out, though. I think that this will be Jesus's tomb.
It's probably one of the best scenes in the show. Yeah, I am making a bold statement there, but honestly, it really is.
Art allows you to tell stories that people won't normally listen to. Yeah. And I think this will bring the gospel to a lot more people. When you look at history and you see all these different painters trying to...
So the guy in the middle there, the black guy in the middle, that is Kenneth. He is one of the writers for the show, I believe, but he's also Paul Sturstad's brother-in-law. And he is also playing John Zebedee in this show, is what he's called.
Bring Jesus into their time and bring the message of the gospel to their people. You see paintings that represent the time period and era of the painter. Mm-hmm. And I think this plays off of that, where you're taking Jesus's message and bringing it into our time in a very relatable way that I think people can understand.
I suppose unless you've been raised in a religious household, you probably wouldn't necessarily know a lot of the people.
So this is our first look at Joanna. Joanna, obviously a big part of the ministry of Jesus right near the end, oftentimes put into tradition of helping to bury Jesus and different things like that. And so we see Joanna here, which is interesting. I wonder how she'll play out, what role she'll play in the early church as well. Or is this just her during the burial of Jesus? Is she a long-term part of the show? Not sure.
A lot of the things, and it's kind of a great way to actually just learn the history. And it's like, what if you put it in a parallel future? You can explore the power dynamics, you can explore how do you spread the word, especially underneath a government that doesn't support that, you know?
Yeah, I think this show will give us the opportunity to look at Acts in a way that we never have before, and especially on this channel, for us to be able to deep dive into Acts in a brand new way is going to be really, really cool. Give us some different subject matter than we're seeing in The Chosen, you know, that we've been so locked in on for so long. So this, I think, is going to be a really, really fresh breath of air for us.
My children watched Testament. It gave them the chance to just see or imagine it as though they had lived in those times.
I was so excited. I feel like
everyone has already done so much work and I just pop in, do a little bit of running and then go. It's been such an enjoyable day, just meeting old faces, people who you've started the journey with, and then loads of new people, and you realise just how big the project is.
This is Minister Ananias. This is Minister Caiaphas, who is the High Minister.
And I'm playing Joanna. So Joanna is the aide to
Herod in Testament.
I've said this a couple times now, but I really like who they chose to play Herod. Herod oftentimes, like even in The Chosen, is shown as this older man who is kind of gruff and maybe a little bit like creepy. Herod, though, was so flamboyant and like I feel like he was so like out there as a ruler that this character choice for him makes a lot of sense to me. I do wonder how he'll be played out, though. You know, obviously, we'll see.
He is very fun to play. He's kind of larger than life, eccentric, kind of loves the luxurious lifestyle of a king and hopes to realize his ambitions to become king soon.
This is interesting as well, because Herod is definitely the king, Herod Antipas. So unless they're like combining characters or moving things around, it wouldn't make sense for Herod to want to become king after Jesus' death. So unless it's talking about a flashback to like him trying to kill his father or something, I'm not sure where this is placed or like what is happening here with Herod specifically, because he is the tetrarch or the king of the Jews, right? Of the area of Israel. So like in history, Herod Antipas is kind of the guy already. He doesn't need to become the guy. So I do wonder what they mean by that here. First look at Herod there. Very, very cool. And again, this is the tomb, which I believe is Jesus' tomb here, guarded by a Roman soldier. So kind of furthers our quest there. Hey, real quick, before we continue on in the video, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and give us a like if you really like what we're doing here on the channel and you want to see more of it. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Next, we get a little bit of a mini episode here with unveiling Minister Ananias. And so let's jump into this.
Hi, welcome to my home. Hi, welcome to my home. I am Master Bridgerton. No, scratch that. Start again, go again.
So the guy in the middle here, we got confirmation that this is Peter. So Peter here, John here, and then Ananias here, which is of course is going to be the high minister or the high priest coming up after Caiaphas. And so he's a really important character as well.
My name's Solomon Israel and I play Minister Ananias. I'd say slippery, slimy, but always with a smile on his face. It's somebody that you can't really trust. It's like a route that you know, I don't know what I'm gonna get, but I have to go down this road. That's a weird description, but yeah, it makes sense to me. I've never been one of those actors to go deep diving into too much research because I think you can lose the essence of play and imagination in the moment. But I did have a look at some roles that I've enjoyed screen-wise of, not, I wouldn't say evil or villainous characters, but just characters that every time they came on to the screen, you were like, oh, what is this person gonna give me, man? But you're always so captivated and engrossed in what they do give you. So there's multiple stories.
Yeah, that's what we need from the villains of this show, is someone who's captivating. I mean, if you don't have that, it's not going to be a very good show overall, for sure.
Stories in Testament, which is why it's so good. I love, as you do when you watch anything, being engrossed in someone fighting so hard and so much for something that they believe in. There's a lot of heart, and I love seeing and witnessing and being a part of people just giving their all and putting their heart on display for people to see, and really wanting a response from someone, whether you get the right one or not. Because we're dealing with stories from the Bible, it feels old school but futuristic at the same time.
which it should, as a modern day reinterpretation of what's going on. It should feel old school, but modern at the same time. I feel like that's going to be the key to this show. Absolutely, for sure.
The costumes, you get a hint of that in the costumes. It feels very modern, but also there's an essence of, if you have ever read passages of the Bible, what you thought they would look like back then. So it's very, old but new. But it's very grand. It's very grand. Like I said, there's more than one storyline. It's definitely a journey. I know that's something that people say a lot, but it truly is. That's a really good answer. Go Solomon. Thank you.
He seems like a funny guy for sure. We've seen him in a lot of the behind the scenes stuff so far. Seems like a really funny guy, Solomon.
Oh, you have a microphone.
I do.
Thanks for making me look silly. Great. Thanks. This is what I get on the daily. Yeah?
Interesting stuff. Last but not least, we're going to look at week 4, the recap for that, and kind of look into what's going on here as well.
Is it going to rain?
No.
Is it going to rain? You live in the UK. Yes, it's going to rain. I heard it just, that's all it does there. I mean, I don't think you've ever seen a day of sun in your life. Is that true?
Hello. I have just arrived on location. As you can tell, we're at a very posh location. We are at the Royal Horse Guards Hotel. We're at a mansion. It is humongous in there. It is so posh that we have to wear things on our feet before we get in there, but I'm gonna take you along. So we're gonna go in and see what it looks like. And we're gonna go and meet the crew. Ready? Let's go.
It's been really good. We're at this amazing location today. Have you had a look around and seen all the frescoes?
This is a character I'm really interested in. We talked about him last time, but he's playing the captain. And this, of course, is the temple guard here, who is kind of part of this whole situation. The two characters that we know from the temple guard side of things are the captain and Mara, I think is her name. And so these two are kind of the temple guard main characters, I guess, that we've seen so far. And so we'll see how that plays out. But I wonder what kind of role the captain will play in this, and who he'll be working with. Does he work with the Romans at any point? What is kind of going on with him? I can't really place his character quite yet.
It's quite an incredible location. We lucked out.
These locations have just informed us as actors, because you don't need to push it too much at all. If you overact or do anything big, it's just going to be full on and just big. And I think it negates the story if you try too hard, because the beautiful locations are just, a picture within themselves.
Yeah, let the location tell the story. You don't have to do too much to add to it. Absolutely.
Georgia, do you want to give us an inspirational quote for today, or a word?
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed. Thank you.
So that's the third assistant director. This is the same position as Mitch, but in America, we call them the second assistant director. So he's the second, which is kind of in charge of background and stuff like that. So she's the third assistant director, which is what it's called overseas.
Overwhelmed can mean so many things. Overwhelmed with beauty, overwhelmed with stress. I don't know. So these look amazing. I can fit in the frame. I should be framed on this wall. Head of content marketing, what a gem. This is our amazing script supervisor. She's awesome. She knows everything. Got a question about the script? Come to her.
Yeah. Cheers.
Do you have a word for today?
Spectacular.
Spectacular.
That's a good word.
That's a brilliant word.
I like that word.
I love it too. You're amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, this location is insane. The Chosen often can't use locations like this, right? Like they're mostly either outside or in locations that they made themselves, which of course their sets are beautiful, but you can't really use like buildings that people have made today, because the buildings that they're trying to use in The Chosen are so old that they're all destroyed, right? It's not like you can go into on the Temple Mount today and go film up there, right? It's just, it would never be allowed, first of all, but the buildings that were there don't exist anymore. So to have a set like you have in Utah or other places, they're beautiful, beautiful sets. But I think there is something to be said about using these locations like this, that makes it way different, I would say.
He said, I came up to him really nicely and he said, what do you want?
Nah, something was off. And now I know.
you were in host mode. She's not usually like this. She's usually just grumpy.
I'm usually tired. What's your word for today?
Mansion.
I love it. It's a great mansion.
We're in a mansion.
It feels like
Mansion life.
this area makes me think of a cake.
I thought you were going to be so ridiculous, but as soon as you said it, yes, it does make you think of a cake.
Right?
Actually, I'm pretty sure I've seen cake with this decoration.
Yes.
With like the
And then the pink. Look at that.
That's beautiful. It's a gorgeous mansion.
There's a lot of furniture, a lot of carpet, so it's been sounding really great.
A lot of quite heavy pieces of furniture that have to go from different places because we're filming in some very grand old buildings, and so having the matching furniture to go with the specific time period and things, it's really important.
Yeah, it is so cool. It definitely has like a retro vibe, you know, even though it's a different world, even though it's different things, like having this car, having the locations that they have, it's not like a modern, like, you know, 2024 apartments or housing or whatever else. It definitely feels like it's ambiguous to an extent. It'll be so interesting to kind of get the vibe of the show once we get to watch it.
I think the key thing for me is that this is all set in the modern world. But as we're set in the modern world, there is a nuance, there's a subtlety.
Today is obviously where they're being brought to the ministers and they're all going to, be talking to them. So, yeah, it's actually the first time that we see the apostles.
Interesting. First of all, he said apostles. Not sure I can get behind that one. But we see as the apostles are in front of the ministers, which is really interesting. We see Peter and John specifically in front of them, which we know happened quite a few times for a lot of the different apostles, for a lot of different followers of Jesus. Stephen obviously dying at one point as the crowd starts to turn on him, right? And so we're going to see that. I'm assuming in season 1, most likely with Stephen, but not 100% sure. Yeah, really interesting stuff. I'm just really looking forward to sinking my teeth into the show.
Being with the ministers in the same space. I'm not sure if it's the first time. It's the first time with me. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I mean, to play, to put on the costume, these wonderful costumes that they've made, and then be the leader, the high minister. It's just one big power trip, isn't it? You don't get to play that in real life.
Hi, amazing costume department. Hi. We wanted to ask you guys an inspirational word for today. Or any word, actually, for today.
Any word?
Yeah. First word that comes to your mind.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I love that.
Such a British word. Great job. Great job.
Yeah. No, I don't know why that's the first word that came to my head, but
I absolutely love that. Hi. We have a question. This is our first camera assistant and DOP. We have a question for today.
Yes.
What are your words for today? First word that comes to your mind.
Wet.
Wet. It is very wet. The weather isn't very good, but we'll keep.
We have some rain we might need to take shelter from, but that's every department has to deal with that.
Is it going to rain? No. Well, I like to hear
a little bit, but then it'll stop spitting. Do they say that in the States? Do you have the word spitting?
Not really. We don't say spitting. We would say it's sprinkling. It was probably the more common term.
What is the first word that comes to your mind right now?
hello.
A word for the day.
Success.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello.
You're in the camera.
Are we?
Who are you?
I am Sam, and the sound mixer Jimmy.
He's amazing.
I'm trying.
Boom operator, sound mixer, second unit. Amazing. Wow, third attribute.
What's your word for today?
My word for today, flabbergasted.
I like it. People are giving great words.
It's a great word.
I love it.
Cool.
Amazing. Thank you.
Word?
That's a good question. Ecstatic.
Static is good as well. Yeah, I'll take it.
As your first AD, do you want to give us a word for today? First word that comes to your mind. What? What, ladies and gentlemen? What? The question.
So we're kind of meeting a bit of all the team here. So we got the first AD, we got the third AD, we've got the second AD, we've got a bunch of people kind of coming in and showing up what's going on here.
Question of the day.
I mean, overall, it's been fantastic working on the set with all the people. that's definitely the highlight for me. It's definitely the people.
Everyone's so lovely, and I feel at home here. I feel like everyone respects and appreciates each other's craft, each other's work.
You know, time flies when you've got great company. Yesterday got here at 7, but new location, you know, presents different challenges. The AD department of
Interesting. So we got the 2 temple guard figures. I think that's Mara and the captain. And then they're bringing in Peter and John, looks like bound, into the ministry. Interesting.
To work on
There might be another character back there, but I don't know who that is.
fire today, and we're getting these actors through like it's nobody's business. So maybe even an early start.
Well, it's a really difficult day really for me today. I was prepared for scene 2, 2-1, and what they've decided to do is to pick up the reverse angle from yesterday. So now I've got to recalibrate my process and energy levels to delay my performance. So I'm just going to reflect on that before I speak to production. Have a great day, everybody.
I'm sure things are changing around all the time on set. I know in The Chosen they do for sure, where you're going to plan to do one scene and then you end up having to switch around and do a different scene. So all the actors are like looking at their lines, trying to get things correct and recalibrating, like he's saying there.
What is the treatment when you are staff? How is the treatment that you enjoy?
Is it a good massage?
Tap into the whip. It's too hard. I don't want to damage.
You can't compete with these healing hands.
She's got the healing hands.
Great, nice.
Solomon, come here. Come on. It's very sweet of you.
Hey,
Welcome
I'm
to
good.
Testament. Hi, I didn't see you there. I was just adjusting my microphone. How are you today? I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Are you taking up? Should you be host today for this video?
So,
yeah.
How's your experience been so far of Testament?
It's been good. Everyone's lovely as always,
Including
Solomon. Solomon's number 1, and then everybody comes afterwards.
I didn't say it. You heard it here first.
How have you been finding the shoot so far? We're 4 weeks in.
I'm exhausted because I just like to really give on this production. I'm tired, but
Yes.
I'm also refreshed. Yeah.
We've got the same mind.
As you can see, good people,
It's great
laughs all the
people,
time,
yeah.
good vibes.
Everyone's good vibes.
And
how are you?
you're okay.
I'm alright. At least I'm alright.
At least you're okay. You know?
I feel like you should give me a bit higher.
You're
A bit
great.
disrespect. Thank you.
You're great.
Thank you.
How are you finding your experience here?
I'm finding it great. Now I've met you, it's broadened so much.
Everybody keeps saying the same thing. I wonder why. Welcome to the house tour. Follow me. These are the stairs I created. Funny story. I found these stairs when I was in Paris and I was in love with Josephine. And these remind me of the steps that we walked on our first date. So I just brought them from Paris. Do you want to come on down?
them over.
This is Catherine. This is the most important person that you will ever meet. How are you doing today?
All the better for seeing you.
Everyone keeps saying the same thing. Why? So, these are my friends. I've paid them to be my friends, but they're still my friends. Say hi, guys. This is the piano I love to play my love songs on when I'm in the mood.
Would you like to play us something?
Okay, I can't. Dude.
I thought she was never going to ask. I call this one Testament. Old Testament.
Okay.
Testament. Minister and a night. Come on now. We gon' test that man. Oh, Testament.
All right, I'm fast forwarding past this. Let's see if there's anything else in this video.
Exclusive. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Signing
beautiful.
out. This is the best experience of my life. I got to share it with you, and I'm grateful. Any last words?
I just love you, man. We love being here.
Old Testament.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. Mara and Gamaliel.
Testament.
We see the boys coming in. Looks good. Looks good. Ooh. See what I'm saying? Like, I love The Chosen, but it's so hard for them to get a shot like this. like where they're coming up to a building that is so established and just feels so real. Because everything is a set, it doesn't have all the little tiny details that make it feel 100% real. Like you can get that it's real, but it's you always know in the back of your mind that it's a set, you know? Yeah, it just has a different feel for sure. Absolutely. Anyway, as always, let me know what you guys think about season 3 or week 3 and 4 of Testament. Hopefully we'll be getting some news soon about what's coming up with them and what's going on, when the release date will be, all that kind of stuff. I'll keep you updated here. Let me know what you think about all this stuff here. And of course, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.